Hello, guys. Just popping in live for a second. I'm thinking that this might actually be my last live here on Crackbook, but I've just been over on to YouTube, and there's a bit of YouTube that I miss here on Crackbook. So I just want to basically now see if I'm starting to shift and change direction in where it is that I need to be. Um, Today is an amazing, powerful day for us all here in the earth. It is a complete harvest for us all, every single one of us, whether we believe in it or not. It doesn't matter if you believe it, but today is the day of harvest, and we will literally all, so this affects everybody on the planet. You can't get away with it, can't miss it, can't control it, can't dictate it, can't try to change it, can't try to move it. There's absolutely, at this present moment, like here in time and space, as the moon moves around us, above us, and etc. It is the harvest moon, and we literally, under this energy, this force field, frequency, vibration, that during this time and space here in the universe, we will all literally reap what we have sowed. So people are either have had a cursed day, and in fact, actually, I didn't even actually see the significance of today until tonight. And it was literally, as my day has unfolded and rolled out, as you'll know, I've been with James today, the journalist. Dean wasn't too happy about James being the journalist to do this, because he has met James on a couple of occasions. He feels that they're too small, too independent, and that the plug might get pulled. But the first time in 7 years, in fact in 9 years, this is the first time in 9 years since I went out in the media in 2010. This is the first time that I've had the media actually come out and go through my paperwork. And literally, I met James today at the train station at 11, and we went for a walk over to Victoria's Park and went and sat in the cafe, which is ran by St James's. So it's the family support place for people with alcohol challenges and homelessness and things like that. And I got to sit and speak, get a lot of people to sort of, interact around James, to give James a different point of view and perspective of different people, different stories, and the way that my children were interacting with all of these different people, and the perspective that a social worker would have by my children's interaction by all of these different people who were actively on methadone, who have alcohol issues, homelessness, drug dependency. Now, it's St James Cafe, so everybody that works in there obviously is vetted, corrected, and it's a family cafe, so there is no sexual offences or anything like that. So I already know that immediately, but who knows who sits in a cafe these days. So I met James, and I took 3 of my bundles with me. I'd already agreed with James that I felt that he needs to come to the home because I've got too many bundles, can't move it. So James got trained down this morning, and we sat over at the park with the 3 bundles, and he had his microphone on, recording and stuff like that, and we talked very openly about the system. And he actually has a child called Elijah as well. And as a journalist and reporter who had seen many articles on forced adoption and parent alienation and denied contact, and also as a journalist, he sat in many cases. And when he had his son, he sat in another case, and he started asking himself how he would feel if his son was to be taken and how he would feel in this situation. And he said he used to drift off in court and literally put himself in the perspective, hey Maria, of the parent and how he would feel if his son was to be taken from him. Hence this urgency for him to really understand what is going on. There are patterns with everything, of course there are, but can you really say that every single parent that's had their child taken by social services, be it long-term foster care or a forced adoption, even a special guardianship, the thing that I honed over to him that was absolutely paramount, I said to him, once a child is raped, it doesn't matter what you do, you cannot take that moment back. There is no way of undoing what was done. You cannot, it doesn't matter what you do, you will never give that innocence back to that child. I said to remove a child is the same. To make the decision to move a child during an assessment, that it has to be honed in that a removal is worse than sexual, physical, emotional abuse. That the impact of a removal is so detriment that they actually cause for the children and the parents to clam up. You cannot, every single interventionalist like me will tell you if there is a situation where there needs to be a negotiation, be it like bank robbery or war or anything like that, there has to be negotiation, right? You cannot negotiate with somebody who's holding a child at ransom. There is no negotiation. When there's children involved, there is no negotiation. And once a baby has been taken from the breast, whether the mother chooses to breastfeed or not, the baby is removed, and it's removed in that situation. Once a baby is taken from the womb or the cervix, the stomach, cesarean section, got to be correct with everything then when you're on live, because hey, then somebody comes back and goes, well, not all babies are born through the womb, you know, some actually come through, you know, but it is still the womb, whether it comes through cesarean section, just things like, it gets really boring justifying yourself all the time. But we talked about literally every perspective of social services, be it that, and we could have talked about so much more. We had 5 hours and he had to get back, obviously, little and wife coming home and having tea and stuff like that, and the journey back to London. So we went all the way through like how the system's structured, how it works, what the perspective is, blah, 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 blah. So basically I gave them all of that sort of information, from whether you come in through a child protection point of view, whether you come in through a multi-agency, legal planning, early years, blah, 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 blah. Whether it's been, we even talked about how referrals come in, whether it comes from multi-agency, whether it's a neighbour referral, even your own family that do it. We even talked about the depths of social services being a bullying toy, and it actually is used to emotionally abuse people. With saying, oh, well, if you do this, I'm going to ring social services. Do this, I'll ring social services. You get it a lot in council, social, sorry, to be politically correct, social housing sort of areas. It will be used as quite a manipulative tool. So people who play loud music, they're turning music down, I'm ringing social on you, or people who get into a bit of a nick-pack, especially when relationships break down, it can be used then as well. And what you tend to find in a lot of these cases that even I've looked at is a lot of the time people have actually put themselves in that situation, and it's either been through a he said, she said that's caused it, that's given them the paperwork. They can't create anything that you don't give, even if they misunderstand it. Everything comes from something that you've put into the paperwork system, be it you've gone to the doctors, blah, 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 blah. It is our responsibility to make sure that our paperwork is correct and represents us accordingly. If it doesn't, that is our responsibility to make sure it does. What people don't realise in this situation is it is so easy to have it edited and corrected. It's just that you have to follow a process to do so. What most people, and what I didn't understand when I first came into this, was the process. Even when I was in foster care myself, yeah, I found it very difficult because nobody ever actually sat down with me and explained this process that I was in, of them having to complete certain things within certain time frames and all of this, and actually the courts uphold it. So what we find to be really frustrating for them is actually forcing them to do their job, but also it's putting a lot of pressure on. So we talked about all these different aspects, even down to the fact that there is the legalization of gay adoption, that we don't have a proper pen pal thing for, and I kept using the RSPCA as an analogy for adoption. He liked it. And I was saying that we've become so desensitized to breeding animals and selling their babies off. And I told him the story of how I healed after Aaron and Faith were taken. Well, I didn't heal, I'm still healing. It's forever healing. It's every day, every second of every day. You don't really get over children being taken in such a way. We don't get to bury them. They've not been, they're not dead. We didn't have a funeral for our children. We didn't get to have family around us supporting us through our grief. In fact, it's completely and utterly the opposite fucking way when you go through something like this. It alienates you. In fact, it alienates you from a lot of people. Hence why so many people find comfort in being in the same boat with other parents, because they understand it. But I can't have that so much in my life because it holds me back. And I don't believe in support groups. And one of the reasons I don't believe in support groups is because I really don't think it does you any favours sitting around talking about your problems. And I've always said this, and this is one of the reasons that the system doesn't like me, as in I won't work with the system, because I'm not somebody who likes to go to mums and tots places. Or I'm not somebody that, I like to build my own community, if that makes sense. I like to build my own world around me. That makes me a narcissist, apparently. But I don't really, I intertwine and I talk to everybody. In fact, today I had an amazing magical experience today. And as I came in today, the boys had just quickly nipped out and they were in their pajamas, and we were quickly just running back in because I had no shoes on. I'd just gone to check how many parking tickets one has. But in parking in front of my car was this Mercedes, right? And somebody was just sitting, and I mean top of the notch fucking Mercedes that you do not see in a place like this. Like even a drug dealer wouldn't fucking pull down. If they did, there's probably likely to be police. And in fact, actually, they did quickly do a bit of a swing round. But he was just sat there, didn't say pay attention, didn't have a look. I'm not that egotistical, do you know what I mean? I grew up with fucking fast cars and shit like that. So it was just more that I noticed it. So anyway, as I was coming around here, I didn't put two and two together. And there's a guy sat on the bench. And straight away I said, oh, you definitely don't live in here. He said, what makes you say that? I said, you don't look stupid enough to end up in a place like this. And he said, hello. He said, what's your name? I said, it's Kelly. He said, oh, I already know you. I said, oh, really? He said, yes, I'm Dino. I said, hello, Dino. How do I know you? He said, through Graham. I said, oh, you're Dino. Shit. He said, Jess, I'm just waiting for Dino, for Graham to come down. For those who don't know who Graham is, and I do talk about Graham, and I'm allowed to talk about Graham. In fact, I'm Graham's PA, and I'm allowed to promote Graham. And Graham has always asked me for help while I've been here, and I always give him the help really accordingly, but he never turns up on these particular times because he's worried. Like I just say it's fine, just Graham whenever. And I do bits like I rang Steve Davis for him the other day, and I spoke to his PA and Sharon, and he was like so overwhelmed that it was just as quick as literally just googling Steve Davis, going boom, from going straight onto his PA, and he was like, I need you. Don't forget this man's like in his 70s, 80s. His phone is like a fucking brick. He doesn't do this sort of technology. He is He's retired, of course, but he became an alcoholic. And he became an alcoholic after, what's his name? Another snooker player. Can't remember. So basically, he was the producer, the film director for the snooker. And he always laughs that everybody loves his work when he's pissed, right? But the problem is once you get to this particular age and new kids come in and stuff like that. But anyway, he's still got this one more film left in it. And he's been this ranting old man outside, very drunk, that's caused a lot of disturbance. And I've been holding the ground here for quite a while because I didn't like the way the Roberts Centre dealt with them. As people know, following my lives, I've been talking about them. I didn't like the way they made a decision talking about them outside. And I kicked off. And I still kick off. And in fact, I kicked off the other day because of the way that we're evicting them. And I've told the staff here that you're going to end up institutionalising this man because he's telling you that he's an aristocrat and he's got a lot of fucking money and you fucked up, mate, and he isn't going into a care home. And he's really not liking the fact that he's been put in this place with his missus and been separated. And he's been saying about all these people that are going to get involved and they're really not happy and they're getting very close about coming down and finding out why he's being put into an old people's home and why they've been separated as a couple who've been together 35 years. So anyway, majority, apart from me and Dean, disagree that he is grandeur and has mental health issues. And we decided to believe him. And I took the complete leap of faith to even allow him to come in my home while my children were here. And he's an alcoholic, okay? I told the services that the amount of time that I spent with Graham, because usually I bob down and I see him without the kids, or the kids are in the garden and they're in the park. And the fact is, my kids absolutely adore Graham, right? And in fact, Elijah and Shiloh spend a lot of time with homelessness, alcohol, drug problems, stuff like that, through churches, through homeless kitchens, through all the different places that obviously you don't talk about your missions, but, you know, every Christian who picks up takes on their mission. And obviously mine is in a place that most people don't understand. But yeah, we decided to take the gamble, and I said to Dean, I said, you've got to go down and you've got to at least listen to him and try to remember the names, because I never remember these names. And he always gets really panicky saying he's not name dropping, and I'm going, Graham, it's the snooker. I wouldn't know who any of them was. About Steve Davis and the one that lived behind me in Northern Ireland is about the only ones that I know. And when I told him who it was, and I can't remember his name, he died not like while I was in Northern Ireland. And he was like, wow, you know, and he was quite impressed. And he was very impressed because actually he kicked off when Donald Trump and everything was here, and when the police like threatened to shoot me, and he was going fucking ballistic outside, right, to the point they restrained him, right? They don't treat my little Graham very well, okay? So Graham's been asking me to be his PA for ages, right? And the last couple of days, I've been wondering what's true, what's not true. So anyway, face to face I am with Dino. Holy shit. Talk about a fucking blessing, mate. That means I don't just have Dino, and Dino has confirmed today, along with it, that everything Graham has been saying to me about the fact that these people have been talking to Graham. Graham has been talking to them about me and my situation. They do have the film crew ready. They are willing to do the full documentary, and they are willing to fund to the full level that I need in order to do this and completely sponsor it. And I also have a guy called, and I'm allowed to actually say his name, and his name's just gone completely from my fucking head again, Pete something. And yeah, like, as long as I'm patient, as long as I just, I don't know, just start scheduling myself a bit and start maybe forward planning a little bit, maybe starting to think about tomorrow slightly, like we're already into the 14th, so Friday the 13th, and the harvest moon has been above us, and we are all entering a new time and space right now, and it's really exciting. Like, I'm so excited, like sitting down and talking to the journalists today, like to actually go through my paperwork. Like, I've never ever gone through my paperwork like that with anybody in the whole 7 years, and I've dragged my paperwork around with me for fucking years. If anybody knows me from back in 2013, you will know when I used to go and shut like Manchester courts down and go to Bolton and go to Liverpool and London and all this place. I always had a massive big fucking suitcase with me, a trundle wheel, a holdall, a little bag, and my handbag. And I had that everywhere that I went. And that massive big fucking suitcase was absolutely jam-packed with paperwork. So were the other bags, and so was the bundle bags. And it was heavy as fuck, but it used to help me get on the train easier. And I used to say to them, my ticket's in there somewhere. And I used to get away with it a lot, right? And because people used to help me with my bags, they used to say my story a bit. And they never used to check my ticket. In fact, they used to put me in first class a lot because they used to say, look, I can't leave your luggage down there. You might as well just go and sit in there. It's empty. So yeah, that was all my paperwork, and I used to drag my paperwork to London. In fact, while I was asleep once, the only person who actually ever read my paperwork was Jazz Hands. Those who know, who started Nottingham Street Nights. Jazz Hand came to the kitchens with me, so and I stayed and cleaned his fucking apartment and shit. And yeah, on my birthday, I took him to the Manchester Wake Up Kitchen and Street Nights, and then obviously he's carried on and blah, 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 blah. But he read from my paperwork, and my friend Chris has sort of started to read. He read my psychological report. So obviously a reporter, a journalist, two different things, but a journalist reads a lot more in depth, very speed ready, really quickly. So when we got back here, oh, bless his cotton socks, he brought me a coffee as well. I did have my free little things, so he brought me coffee. And when we got to the shop, Shiloh opened one of the fucking fruit pastels, and I was like, shit, I hate it when my kids do this, because sometimes they're like pennies or pounds. I think it's like 72 pence left, maybe 41 pence or something left in my account. I think Dean's sending me a bit of money tomorrow, but like 30 quid, do you know what I mean? What was it? Yeah, so he quickly just put them up on the side and paid for them, bless his cotton socks, and gave them to the kids. I was like, oh shit. And then we got back here, and when we come back here, so literally I handed him my oppose the adoption order bundle, and because that's got like the whole argument, it sums everything up, do you know what I mean? And it also has the adoption person's plea in there. So I let him read that one first, and I just basically said, look, and that one doesn't have any highlighting in it or anything, so I haven't got around to that one yet. And I let him just sort of read it from his point of view. And then a couple of times I checked with, well, like if I was watching his expressions and stuff, and if it was something that was like, I then went over and I interjected and went bump for the story. And he's like, okay, really taken back. And what I was able to actually do with him today as well was show him how this cut and pasting works, right? So in parenting reports, how they cut and paste from the psychological report. But because, like, I was showing him, like, because the police use words like assault and battery, why parents have got the word assault in reports, even when there hasn't actually been an assault, because with an assault comes an arrest, a criminal, blah, 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 blah. It's because of the context and the semantics that are used and the schemas that are used within their education system. And I actually got to cross-reference it and completely show him how it was done. Also, how the adoption letter was done, because the solicitor who started going through my paperwork prior to meeting Dean when I was in London, and who taught me about misfeasance, non-misfeasance, and malfeasance in public office, he was able to show me on my adoption letters, and I managed to get quite a few people's adoption letters and have a look at them as well, to look at the sentence structures and what they do and how they write them, right? Now, one of the things with being a degree student with psychology is one thing that you've got to be really careful with is plagiarism, right? Everything has to be cross-referenced. Everything has to be listed. So I got him to go through my psychological report, right? And then with each sentence structure, I was able to pull my medical note out. I was able to pull out the cross-referencing and show him the date where this word come from. So as I went through the report, I said, if you were reading that report now and I was stood in front of you, what would your perception be of me? I said, if you were reading that report and I'm telling you that is from when I was 3 years old, that is from when I was 6 years old, that is from when I'm 9 years old, that is from when I'm 11 years old, that is from when I'm 13 years old, per se, on to 22 when I was diagnosed, right? 23 when I was diagnosed. After that, there's no record of me other than the assault when the police got involved with Stephen, which was 3, and that was it. And I've gone for a multi-agency thing. It never worked, and I moved myself. It was as easy as that. So other than that, there was nothing. So I got to show him that, and I got to show him how there was 22 years of wrongful diagnosis. I haven't got to show him everything within my medical notes because we didn't have time, but he's taken photographs, stuff like that. It's illegal for any person to read our bundles, right? A draconian gagging order, which is what I've got, a D notice, basically means that nobody is allowed to look at my paperwork. I'm not allowed to encourage anybody to look at my paperwork. I'm not allowed to ask anybody to look at my paperwork. I'm not even allowed to tell anybody that that paperwork even exists. I'm not allowed to show any of that paperwork. The only way I am legally allowed to identify that paperwork to anybody, and not even the bundles that I've got in there, I can go to a solicitor. They are not allowed to see that. I'm verbally allowed to tell them what my situation is, as long as it's within that consultation period. And they, if I pay them or if I access legal aid with them, they are allowed to access the freedom of request in order to see that. But I am not allowed to share any form of that paperwork or that bundle with anybody, show anybody, or anything like that. If, well, we all know if is not quite an if with me. In fact, I'm going to be changing over my timeline in a minute with one of the fucking quotes in my paperwork. I feel the need for my book to have this statement up there. Kelly is attractive in a street corner kind of way. Do not believe her lies, believed to be sexually active. Quite bizarre behaviour. I feel this needs to be my timeline for a bit. And to show this is what social workers write about teenage kids. So anyway, yeah, I'm feeling very good today. I'm feeling that it may just quite turn out that I'm going to be skipping and hopping into my new life very soon. I have been asked to be the PA of a very, 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 very top film of an audience of 6 million people. His immediate audience is 6 million people through, and this is with Steve Davis. So, and all of the old school snooker players. So this is going to be really cool and quite interesting. I've already met Dino today, so it is real. He does exist. This man is not grandeur crazy. He really is an aristocrat, and he really is who he says he is. It's just that his life has crashed so much and it's ended up in this situation. And he's really been praising me to these people about what I've done for him and his partner. And, you know, sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it's just that I've sat next to him and he's weed all over me. Do you know what I mean? It's just sometimes I've sat with him, or sometimes I've just pointed him in the right direction, or, you know, sat and let him just get a lot of shit off his chest. I've been in his apartment. I'm very respectful. You know, I'm quite cool when he's got his trousers on, when he hasn't. But today, I always thought it was that he wanted me to just volunteer and help. And they actually discussed it with me today, and they said, we really are serious about you being his PA. It is a paid job. You do understand this. So, like, we need you to, like, start now. So this apparently is going to happen. So I have to meet with a guy called Oh my goodness, I'm starting to remember all of these names. Can't remember. Maybe I'm not meant to say it right now, but it does mean that I could land on a very well-paid job. He isn't going to be around for much longer. This is a way of him leaving quite a big legacy within the snooker world. He's not dead yet. He's still breathing. He still is a film director in his own mind. He always will be a film director. He doesn't want to retire. He's pissed off that he's retired. He's pissed off that he can't drink at work anymore. Apparently the BBC won't let him turn up drunk anymore. The rules have changed, apparently. But also with Graham, Graham does actually know a lot about what went on in the BBC. And he's willing to talk to me and be on my documentary talking about what he knows. And he says he'll do it on video there and then. So he doesn't want to talk about it now. He just says he wants to do it in one go, one film, one edit, one interview, and that's it. And it will be filmed, and then they will put it into my documentary for me. So Pete Edges, I think that's one of them. So that was cool, really cool. So, and then not only that, I went over to the park today, and it was really lovely. I've got a bit of a network of people over there that are really cool with me, and I've got a lot of my girls and stuff like that. So, but literally Tracy came out, and I didn't realise that someone that I spend a lot of time with when I'm in there is actually Tracy's son, and I didn't know this until today. But I spend a lot of time with him. He has Matthew's disease? No, not Matthew's. I can't remember. It's the next step up from Down syndrome. So it's 3 chromosomes missing, not 2. So Down syndrome is 2 chromosomes missing, where this particular thing is 3. And I interact with him quite a lot. I spend a lot of time with him just because I grew up in that world. So, so yeah, it turned out it was Tracy's son. And Tracy blesses me anyway when I go over there anyway. But today she really blessed me. And I'm going to really look forward to, when I get off this live, going and putting all the preparation ready for in the morning. In fact, I might do it in the morning actually. But I've got to get over to the park by like sort of 9:30 because I've left my phone over there and it's literally plugged in right in the middle of everyone, and it's going to be manic tomorrow. So I cannot lose my phone tomorrow before anybody sort of picks it up, or I'd like to think it would stay there. If Tracy finds it or any of the staff, it will stay there. If any of my kids, like Mother Goose kids or my friends, see it, it will stay there. And if anyone knows it's mine, it will stay there. But if not, there's a chance. So I'm not even going to interject on that. It will be there. It's fine. It's going to be fully charged and ready for me when I get over at the park. And it's also going to make me get up in the morning and actually out to go and sort it out. So I will be up and over in the park tomorrow, which I think what I'm going to do is actually hang around at the park because there's a lot of projects that I sort of want to get involved in over there, and I'm just becoming a little bit more of the furniture in there. And there's a really cool community here in a strange way. But it was really lovely. I'll come home with like literally like 30 leeks, and already had the potatoes, and this, I don't know what this sort of thing is, but I'm going to try it anyway. Some homegrown tomatoes over in the veg garden, and you should see the courgette. It's like this big over there at the moment, but we're waiting. We'll have to raffle it off or something, the largest courgette that we've grown over there, because don't forget about the veg gardens over there. We've done all the apples, and I've got little things that I do just because I'm not, like, I've got everything on live, like seriously, like would I have my whole life on live? But anyway, I am going to be moving over to YouTube again because at the end of the day, my lives make money over on YouTube when I do sort of lives. So I might as well make some money. And the other thing is I'm also going back to Robins. So next year in Birmingham, here in the UK, it will be me running the main sort of things for Robins. So any person in this network might be able to get a little bit of a deal through me. It's not my company, so I can't do big favors, but it means you will get a lot of that information from me through my social media, and maybe you might get a few more videos that you wouldn't have got. So even if your head is already telling you that you can't afford that world, and probably very much I couldn't when I first came into it. You want to see how I got into the situation. In fact, my ticket was gifted to me when I first went in 2007. Like literally someone, I know 2008 I think it was, yeah, my ticket was gifted to me in 2008. I just literally turned up 2007. Yeah, I just networked, talked to absolutely everybody. In fact, the last time there was that moon, and I literally stood in, where was it? It was in London. I was in Covent Garden when the eclipse moon was on in 2007, and that's when I was at Robbins then, and I literally just talked to everybody in the smoking corner, interjected on the buzz, networked like absolute mental with the whole concept of unity in the community and where I was going with it and everything. And then obviously Challenge Britain's come out of that and Step Up and all of that sort of stuff. So, and then my ticket was gifted to me, and then Robbins didn't come back for a year. And then I was on the crew list, so then I went back as a crew, and then I went as a Robin Mains trainer. So I was one of the girls that come straight in and whoop and get you all up and high five you and make you all the thing and do all the pushy things and all these cue cards and stuff like that. And then looking after like what's the solitaire and the diamond groups and the VIPs and stuff like that. So I'm the hostess with the mostess. I used to work for Ann Summers actually. Ann Summers is run by women for women to enable them to feel confident about their sexuality. Yeah, so I would say today, on this very fine day where we, the individuals, will either be blessed or cursed, that I'm being blessed. The run of my day has certainly showed me that on this very, 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 very fine day as midnight came in, that absolutely anything and everything that has been going on today has just been an absolute blessing. I mean, I've even been arguing like fuck with Dean, and all he keeps coming back with me at the moment is I'm here. I'm telling you I'm here. You can trust me. And that's all I'm sort of getting. He's not arguing back with me. He's just saying, I'm here. Or if I ever go, he's like, fucking grow up. And I fucking hate him saying grow up to me. That's like the worst thing you can say to me. That's like red rag to the bull. And I am a bull. So I am a bit of a bull in a china shop. I am also the year of the horse. So a bull and a horse, you know, you're certainly not getting a little squeaky mouse from somebody like me. And also don't forget, you know, I might have to adopt Scott Alexander as a bit of one of my peers, I think. So I want a bit of a network to find 5 people in my life by the end of this year. And these 5 people are going to be with me in 2020. And it's going to be a really good year for me. I have a feeling I'm going to hit quite a lot of bad brick walls, and I'm prepared for that, and I'm okay about that. I can't go any further lower than falling back on a wall when my kids were taken. And if I can overcome and come through that, then I can overcome and come through going into this next chapter of my life. And I don't get to choose anyway. The universe has chosen, the Lord has chosen, Mother Earth has chosen, the angels have chosen. And today, 100%, like even Elijah sat on here on the sofa at the end of the night and just went, wow, Mum, what a beautiful day. And that was just literally this morning, getting up, and I wasn't even rushing to see the reporter today because I wasn't nervous. I wasn't willing to let anybody get to me because Dean kept telling me I don't trust him, can't trust him. And I was like, I'm not believing Dean either. And it was like, I'm going to just treat this. I'm just going to just say what I've got, nothing to hide. I'm not ashamed of anything. I'm not embarrassed of anything. And I tried to explain to James today why people don't come forward. And I said, James, you're reading stuff in my paperwork right now that, you know, for somebody else to deal with would be very shameful and very embarrassing, and it's very difficult to sit in front of somebody and actually have ownership of that. I said, I'm something that I can do because I've already gone through anything and everything that's in this paperwork. I know what's right, what's wrong. I know what I had to actually deal with personally myself, and certainly not anything that would warrant my kids being taken from me, for fuck's sake. Like, seriously, maybe I needed to get my eyebrows done a little bit more often and start looking after my nails, and you know, maybe buying a little bit more clothes for myself, less always giving to the children, and maybe actually putting myself a bit for at first, for once in my life. You know, maybe that was about the only thing. So as much as people try to think that I do that, actually I don't. So you know, and yes, I wanted to deal with some of the things from my past, and yes, I had some questions, but nothing that I couldn't have done with a therapist once a week over the space of 6 weeks. You know what I mean? So yeah, to actually have James at the end of it sit there, and for me to say to James, do you think I'm a child abuser, or do you think I've been wrongfully done by it? And he says, well, yeah, you know, you've certainly been wrongfully done by, like, seriously. So I think for me, even Dean said to me when I spoke to him on the phone, he said, you sound so happy, like, you sound so much happier. Like, I mean, Dean's had to really battle with me through this whole suicide. You guys don't get that. You guys don't see, you know, me telling Dean, you know, like, if I don't fucking come through this today, you know, seriously, and I'll go mad at him sometimes as well, because he is on tour and he's got stuff to deal with, and he's trying to build from just as much of a challenging place than I am. Apart from I've got a roof over my head, he's having to rely on people, you know, letting him stay while he's on tour. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not in a situation for hotels. He hasn't got a sponsorship behind him, and literally having to go through social services fucked up his entire fucking career. Do you know what I mean? It took him off the tour run, and if you come off the DJ sort of track, it's really difficult to get back on. You don't take sort of like 2-3 years out and get back on festival tracks. Like, you're a has-been like that. But for Dean, he's got longevity, so it's a little bit difficult, but he's got to build his own confidence. He hasn't got the equipment, so it's a bit difficult, blah 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 blah. And then obviously with Desert Storm dying, it's sort of taken the rig away as well. So and I don't think anybody really knows what happened to the rig for Desert Storm, so I don't know if anyone knows who Desert Storm was. You can have a look at some really cool videos. Just Google Desert Storm DJ, and you can have a look at some really cool videos. They took the truck off over to, you know, like war countries, and went and DJ'd over there and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So obviously everybody's got their opinion on Dean, but I know him deeper and better than anybody else. He's got some really cool stories. He's got a lot coming on anyway. So but yeah, I don't know. I mean, will this turn out? Will tomorrow at, you know, 11:30, will I be in a meeting to move this forward and start signing contracts and commitments on this film? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what tomorrow's going to bring? Who knows? That's the most exciting thing about it. And because I know it's something so certain, you can't dispute the harvest moon. The harvest moon, for anybody who doesn't know, is what happens tonight. You know, what yesterday, like, it's a shame I can't see. I've actually opened my window purely to be able to just have, you know, the energy of the universe on my face as I'm sitting at my window. That's why I've moved the sofa right underneath the window, so I can open the window and just feel, and because there's not sea air and all that sort of thing. And I've got my jumper on my little radiator, so I can put it on and be all snuggly in a minute, ready to watch one of my films. So yeah, these lives are going to move over to my YouTube. I'm going to be bringing my website back, and I think I'm going to be multi-sourcing. I have moved into writing my book. I'm actually handwriting at the moment, but I decided today that I'm going to start putting it into an email until I can pay for these other websites that I'm doing, and I'm going to put Word in so I can have Word. I don't know if it will download on this laptop, though. This laptop's shit. Bless the laptop. Bless the laptop. But I do believe that if I take this job as his PA, that I literally get all the equipment that I need anyway. So win-win, hey. So yeah, 100%. Let's hope this comes through. But at the end of the day, the way that we live is karmic anyway, whether we like it or not. Every day we will plant our seeds. We will water some of the seeds that are going on. Every day we will either completely be stagnant and, you know, but we're still going to be growing. Our skin's still going to be changing. We're still going to be aging, even if you're, you know, stagnant or in a void, in limbo, as I call it. I always say I'm in limbo, and I don't like being in limbo. Limbo is not good for me. Limbo is a very horrible place for someone like me to be in. And that's what I say to Dean. It's like, come on, for nearly 4 years I've been in limbo, mate. But it's changing that mindset from a 9 to 5 worker. I mean, how many people have ever dated an artist before? I mean, like, seriously, like, it's not normal life. Do you know what I mean? It's not that he gets up at 7:30 in the morning and goes to work at 9 o'clock and comes back at, like, 4:30 and sits and watches telly and goes to the pub on a Friday and a club on a Saturday and, I don't know, Sunday dinner on or whatever. That's not his life. That's not his life. So, it's quite narrow-minded people that these comments come from. So, as if I'm going to leave my partner because somebody on Crackbook tells me to. Like, seriously, are you fucking shot in the head? Like, crazy. Oh, seriously, like, get a life. So yeah, I'm moving my space because I need to protect my inner space, and this is time of self-care for me now. I've actually even sort of got dressed in the last few days as well. Like, I've been gone through with my clothes and I'm doing a bit of a sort out, and on the 23rd, so not long now, on the 23rd of September, all the energy around us will move into autumn, whether we like it or not. Nature's going to make it autumn. We might get a few nice little hatty days, but pretty much now summer is over here in the UK and we're heading into autumn. That day will happen on the 23rd of September. In terms of political stuff, don't forget, they're all been suspended. So currently we have no structure, no force, no stuff. It's just people getting up, going to work for their pay wage at the moment. Nobody's telling them to do so. They're just doing their job. So actually there is no enforcement in this country right now. The Queen has suspended Parliament, as you know, back 4 days ago. And I think they're back on, I can't remember when they're back. They're back at some point. Yeah, literally. Oh, I found out I have a stalker who watches me, by the way. Hello, stalker. Blessing, messing, test, who knows. So, yeah, so fundamentally, I think what's happening now, I caught up with a couple of emails from within the inner core group who organise the direct action stuff. Oh, I know nothing. Yeah, nothing. Don't know nothing going on. I know nothing. All I would say to all of the parents is prepare for hashtag what the courts said. So literally go into Crackbook and search the court said, and it will show you the date that you need to get into action for. And I think there's a couple of other things coming on. And the other thing is I've actually responded to National Parliament Week, and they're sending out packs to all the education things to teach the kids about politics. So I think that this is a really good opportunity. I have already responded on their pages. So, you're never going to be able to take the mission out of me, but what it is that I need is I need my own private life. And there's just some things that I need to be private. Yeah. Now, if I could trust everybody here to protect my space, then it would be different. But obviously, when you put your head... I think that's one of my kids coming through. I don't want to talk and open him up, you know what I mean? If he comes through, it's fine to take him back through. One thing you can't do though is go to the toilet, let them come through with this bloody window open, because he'll be up over the sofa and over there. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I don't know. Can't remember what I was saying. So basically, a lot of people are doing a lot of things, but what I'm saying to people is do the complete opposite. And actually, very quickly, right here, right now, I mean, your passport is £49. That's nothing. So whatever date you paid, get online, get a photograph, pay £49. Your local parks, kids' places can sort out signing, you know, the back of it. Get your passports, get your children's passports, go and do a car boot to pay for them if you need a little bit more. Have a bit of a clear out, have a winter clear out. Like literally now, just start preparing the end of summer, kids' old school uniforms, old school shoes. Yes, there are people out there who probably still haven't been able to buy anything. You know, kids' toys, all the things, have a big clear out. If you don't have your provisional, get your provisional. If you don't have your driving license, you know, each week say, right, you know, I'm going to sell something on eBay or Gumtree or something that's going to be able to pay for this. Or actually, I don't use this jewelry. What's the point of this jewelry just sitting in a freaking box? I'm going to go and completely pawn it all just to pay for an intensive driving course. Get all of these things. It's important that you have these things. It's important whether we're in the EU or not in the EU, but it's important for you to have these things. And the way a lot of people are educated with units, tens, thousands, that's about as far as your mind has been expanded. Your mind is only as expansive and as open as you allow education in. And if you have rejected education, the education system, then you have rejected education, unless you are educating yourself differently. And YouTube, a lot of people who aren't educated will accept everything as a truth and won't challenge anything. That's not good, because again, you're dealing with perspective, opinion, and point of view. So it's okay to listen to things, but not get inundated in things. It's okay to be aware of stuff, and be informed, but not be consumed by it. And the reality is, the only way we're going to fix this world is to fix ourselves. And when we fix ourselves, we fix each other. And when we fix each other, we fix ourselves. So that's the best way to do it, really. So get our own homes in order, take back our own heart, minds and souls. I know 100%, and I said this to my friend, the social worker, the other day. I said to her, I said, what you guys don't realise is the consequences of what you do to parents who have been through your system. I said, even talking to you now, and I'll talk to her quite a bit now, if I pass her and say hello and stuff like that now. And I know most of the services here now, so I live on the doorstep. How am I not going to get to know them? Do you know what I mean? So I said to her, the amount that it takes your mind has you constantly, especially living in a situation like this where I have them around me all this time. Even Tracy across at the park, she has a duty to report. Tracy knows stuff about me that could be like, you know, something that all of a sudden I get a letter and it's like, well, you know, Tracy mentioned this and blah, blah, blah. And, but it's not a signposting thing. And Tracy knows that. Tracy knows that it's not an issue and that. So, you know, but if she didn't know me, if she hadn't built a relationship with me, and I say some of the things that I say in the way that I say it, it would go boom, red flag. Do you know what I mean? It's even today, it was really as I went over there today, I didn't have much apple juice left, and I just put a little bottle of it and filled it up with some water. And as I went across, and as I got to the door, Tracy said, "That's not what I think it is it?" I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Shit, I forgot to drop me sample in at the doctor's." I said, "I might as well drink it." She said, "I thought it was fucking white wine." I said, "God no, if it was fucking white wine, girl, I said, I'll be arguing the fuck with you." So it is that level of banter over there. Do you know what I mean? You should have seen their faces. I'm not a very nice person sometimes. Let's hope my karma doesn't come back on me on them little times. But of course they will do. I will pay for my karma on all I have reaped and all I have sown. So Tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day. I can 100% say today has been an absolute fucking blessing. You know, like total blessing. I couldn't fault like anything from today. Do you know what I mean? Even though Dean's not here, we've still been in, you know, like communication. I'm not blocked. I don't know actually because I haven't got my phone. I haven't checked tonight yet. So we'll see tomorrow morning. Do you know what I mean? I'll know in the morning. But God, it's been going on fucking 4 years. I'm so used to it. Do you know what I mean? He's an autistic guy, so it's not the same as normal. Do you know what I mean? And actually, I really like it. I don't know how anyone copes in a relationship seeing their partner every day. That would do my fucking nut in. Like, seriously, as soon as Dean goes out the door, sometimes I fucking party and celebrate. It's like, thank fuck for that. Like, can I get on with some shit now? And actually, I think as he walks out the door, it's like, oh, God, thank fuck. Can I go around to so-and-so and just fucking, you know, rap and play some fucking music and stuff? Because it does my head in. As much as I appreciate that he loves what he does, I don't appreciate. I love graffiti and stuff like that, but I have never really been into, my kids have, but I've never really been into like his tag and stuff like that. So, but I do love his chill. I love his chill. I love him rapping and I love his dancing. And that I could watch all day. In fact, when he does his doodah, I could sit and watch him for hours. In fact, I could sit in a studio like for days and days and days just watching him. It's like the most magical thing ever to see. So, but yeah, I'd say under this harvest moon that it's going to be a time of harvest. And I know a lot of people have been making comments and talking about me being broke and all of that, but I always knew that I was going to go through a time of drought. And unfortunately, the majority of people that are watching me are very three-dimensional people, or even actually worse, two-dimensional. And they're the people that the autistic community have come to help you bridge the gaps and expand your horizons and stop you being so narrow-minded and awaken yourself really to the 33 dimensions that exist and not the two that you live in. And some are sort of waking up to, you know, maybe one of the third dimensions, but predominantly the most of the, pretty much the Western society. There's always been a war between East and West. There's been a war between East and West for years. That's what it's all been about, you know, Eastern philosophies, these sort of Western philosophies. And hence why our country is going through quite a bit of stuff at the moment, because we have massive amounts of beliefs and traditions here in the UK right now. And they're here to teach us something as well. Like, it was beautiful watching the Romanians out on the hill until about 8-9 o'clock tonight. You know, the Western society would not do that. Like, some of the chaps might, but, you know, they wouldn't do that with kids. The Italians around here are brilliant. I can't wait to see like next year what it's like here. And in fact, it sort of makes me want to stay, which is really crap. So I might have to maybe get a place here in Portsmouth. Maybe. I could probably even cope with a 2-bedroom in here once I start getting used to it. I've got more money, especially if I'm working. It won't bother me so much because I'm not having to run out for stupid little things. And do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's never going to be, well, okay, it is my home. It is my home. I was born here. I wasn't raised here. I spent a lot of time here. And I've only lived here the last 4 years. So, but it was so cool meeting Dino tonight. That's really sort of confirmed my intuition as well. Because when everybody turned their backs on Graham outside, and I mean literally, there was police, social. I had my kids with me. It was wow. And to do this when I've got my kids with me, it's bad enough that I do it when I'm on my own, but to do it when I've got my kids with me is like, you know, major being in the lion's den, and not just going into the lion's den on my own, but going into the lion's den with my kids. And a lot of people, you know, were a bit dubious about what I did, and the Lord told me that I had to stand my ground in that situation. And I did, and it's caused sort of quite a lot of hardballing for me, but for Graham and Jenny, it's sort of causing for people to actually maybe step up and like really understand it. And now I can 100% confirm. So I'm really looking forward to smacking them in the fucking faces, not literally with my fist, but watching their faces completely fucking drop to the floor when I can say I can 100% confirm that Graham is, just because he doesn't have Google and all this stuff, because, you know, he's like in his 70s. You know, when they were all, you know, film producers and stuff, and working for the BBC, you know, you're talking about, you know, massive big party lives, and things weren't all over and stuff. So I will find it in magazines and stuff, and I will find stuff if people have collected it. So if there is anybody who is into the snooker, it would be really, really cool if you could maybe give me a hand as his PA and help me gather a load of information for him. That would be really, really cool. And obviously, if I'm paid, you're paid. So yeah, so anyway, hours up. I'm feeling really good. I might wake up tomorrow not feeling so good. Let's see. I don't know. Is it a choice? Yes, it is a choice. We can choose to get up in the morning. It just means we have to plan our morning at night time. And unfortunately, not a lot of people live to a schedule. Not a lot of people schedule time. Not a lot of people wake up and think about being proactive rather than reactive. And one thing I can't be in this space is reactive. And I can't allow for people here in this space, one, who definitely, they don't know me, they've never sat down, had a meal with me, they've never eaten with me and Dean, they've never been out with me and Dean, you know, they don't know my children. You know, I'm certainly not going to allow people who are not putting food on my table, who are not putting, you know, roof, rent money. You know, I'm being evicted in 2 weeks, for fuck's sake. So I think I've given my time free enough, and somebody really values my time and my experience and my knowledge, and does want me to work for them and does want to pay me for it. So yeah, and it's going to take me closer to my goals personally as well, because it's going to give me the experience that I need to do, and not just the experience, but the tools and the equipment to do the forced adoption exposed documentary. So it helps you guys in the end anyway. It just means I'm paying for it rather than asking you to fund it. So you can't have a go at me. So it just means I've got to pay for it out of my own money. So I've got to work, because you guys aren't going to sponsor and fund for your own children, and I just get trolled for it. You know, what a shame, hey? We could have had you all out parachute jumping and climbing and doing bake sales and having some fun and raising family, you know, some real funds to support families. And we could have got more people like me in the courts advocating, you know, for parents in this situation, and doing interventions and turning it around. Maybe one day everybody will write a testimony and I will be able to put them up on my website, and you'll actually see how many people we really have saved, how many families really have been saved, just because they're not all over Crackbook. First thing I always tell any parent that is working with me is you come off social media. You don't post about your kids. And this is why it annoys me, because then I see other people who continue doing it and continue getting pulled into the network, and then they wonder why they've lost their kids. But, you know, everyone that's followed everything that I've said to the T, from whatever situation that they're in, be it foster care, we've even had 2 annulled adoptions. So, you know, I'm now going to get an opportunity. I really, 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 really hope I'm in my new home by September. Dean actually did say to me today, which was another blessing that I completely forgot. So not only is he sending over some money tomorrow, hopefully I will know whether or not he means it, and he can actually trust me. So hopefully, like, he'll do that. I think it's like 20-30 quid, because it's out of universal credit, you know what I mean? But he has said that I might have £1,000 coming my way soon, just enough to make the deposit up, hopefully. So I'm hoping all this compounds just in time for the 18th, which is payday. And literally on payday, rather than paying for everything here, I am just going to let this all collapse. And on the 4th of October, which they are meant to be filing for my eviction, I'm just going to hand them over the keys. Maybe leave this in Dean's name and let him just clear it all up. I don't know. Talk to him about it. And but just put this into debt management, which I'm sorting out at the moment with all my paperwork that's down there. And yeah, you know, I've worked for free for too long, guys, and it's caused me. I know I will reap what I sow. I know I will make my money back through my book. But in terms of now, at the end of the day, I've done what I come to achieve. I wanted the inquiry. You know, we have the inquiry. It's up to you whether or not you got into that inquiry. I need to try to get in and edit my document, and I can't remember how to get back into it. So if anyone does know how to get in and open, you know, your document, then please let us know, because I can't suss out how to get back into it. And I really need to get in and do some editing while it's still open before they completely close it. So hopefully, if it hasn't been closed during this whole time that they're under suspension, chances are the inquiry may still be open. So if it is still open, Amber, let us know. And if anyone knows how to get in and edit your document, I really need to sit and do some work on mine before they pick it up and go through it and everything when they get back. And don't forget, it's only the MPs, not the staff that work for the MPs. So they're all still working, even though the MPs and stuff from Parliament are out. So yeah, I can't remember if there's anything I needed to say. The closing date for the DV inquiry is finished as well. That finished before this one. There is something else that's coming up or happening, and I can't remember. If there's any significant dates, I'll make sure you get them. I'm moving more and more further back into my normal world now, my normal life, living my life the way that, you know, is my life. So my availability here is going to be a lot less. And also, I just don't want my page being this down, depressing fucking ball of shit all the time. And it's making me very negative and talking about very negative things all the time. I'm very aware that sexual abuse is going on, but I would rather help people become overcomers than victims. And I just feel that these networks that exist keep people in victim mentality. They keep people making excuses. It keeps people in lack of personal responsibility, and it keeps people just blaming and shaming. And that's not a good place to be. That karma is not good. That is not good karma. You ain't getting good karma. You know, people will know what their karma is tomorrow. Things will break, you know, people will trip over. You know, if that's the way your day has gone today, then I suggest you really, 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 really take a breath and step back into true gratitude. I mean, real true gratitude. Grateful for your breath, grateful for waking up in the morning, whether you like the life that you're living or not. Just the fact that you were born, is, you know, it starts there. It becomes grateful for the air, for little things that you've got around you. Grateful for the fact that I've got a little aloe vera plant here that I've killed, but I'm sorry, and I will actually, like, you know, sort this situation out with my aloe vera. You know, grateful that even though, you know, I fucking despise Portsmouth sometimes, and I have a love-hate relationship, you know, I do have a roof over my head, and I have a sofa, and I have some lovely fresh leeks, and, you know, I've got two amazing, beautiful boys in there. And, you know, I don't agree with one of the choices that my son Liam is making. And it's very difficult to be a mother to a child that you can't tell them that they can't do something. And they get to make their own choice. And that's really not cool. And I don't like that. But I'm very blessed. My son's very beautiful, and he's an amazing boy. Or he's not a boy, he's a man. And Daniel graduates next year, so it's a big year. And I really, really, really want to be in my position to turn up on his graduation. I know status isn't about houses and cars, but I just want to be able to have some nice shoes and dress, have my eyebrows done, and just look like my happy, healthy self, you know, in reference to this council house fucking shit that I've turned into. You know, start, you know, really starting to look after myself again, and, you know, go training again, work on my mind again. You know, I've done a load of Robin's work tonight, and it was so nice. It was so nice to get back into that vibration. It was so nice to feel that real hope. It was so nice to have that real direction of faith. And, you know, it was so nice to, you know, just really sit here today. And Elijah really made me laugh just before I go. He come and sat next to me, and he said, can I talk? And I said, yeah, of course you can talk. I said, okay, what do you want to talk about? And, You know, we just sat and had a conversation, and you know, he wants to know if I like hamsters, because he really likes hamsters and really loves hamsters, and he really wants to know whether mummy loves hamsters, and maybe if mummy loved hamsters, that maybe mummy would love hamsters so much that Elijah could hold a hamster in his hand. And this was the negotiation, that he wants a hamster. So here we go. Yeah, so anyway, guys, whatever your blessing, lesson, or test is right now, I really, really, really hope that you are in line with your blessings. I 100% know I am. Thank fuck for that. The drought for me has ended, and I am now 100% going into my time and the space of my harvest. And I don't really think I've produced much rotten, I have to say. I think I have 100% produced some really good fruits. I can't wait to see what grows. I can't wait to see, you know, how it's all matured, and how it's all come about. It's going to be lovely. I don't even know where all my seeds have gone. This is the mad crazy thing about it. I don't know. You know, come on. I mean, I was standing in the middle of like Manchester and Liverpool on a fucking mic talking to, you know, everybody. And I've been on YouTube pretty much on and off, and Crackbook and social media for 9 years now. Even though I keep creating and redoing my accounts, people come back. I don't know what my audience is. Sometimes Facebook says so many people, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It's not really about that. It's about how many lives you can intervene on. And, you know, hopefully that my mess becomes a message to make sure somebody else doesn't fuck up like I did. Or maybe you can turn your circumstances around quicker than I did. Aaron and Faith will come back to me. That's inevitable. It's just when that time and space comes around. I have a feeling I'm going to be seeing them quite soon. And I know there's people who can go, oh, I thought all that, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? With life, sometimes that seed is literally just about to go. And all of a sudden we go. And it was just literally about to sprout. And we lost the faith. So my daughter is called Faith. She was called Faith for a reason. And I have to practice what I preach. So it's been nice having a time of hope. It's been nice being in a place of hope. But yeah, today I've really come to a place of faith again. And that's a really lovely feeling. And I want to stay there. So anyway, guys, I don't know if I see you tomorrow. I may see you tomorrow. All I can just keep saying is, you know, whatever is working, keep doing that. If it's not working, stop doing that. If what you're doing is helping you be the person that you want to be and achieve you to the full potential, I'm not just talking about little Mickey Mouse doing a couple of things. I'm talking about being your full potential, being the best version of you, you know, living to your absolute full max. And I'm looking forward to turning Families Reunited into a charity, because I can't wait to go parachute jumping again. I can't wait to go climbing hills again and doing lots of sponsorship and raising lots of money. And I can't wait to have benefits and balls again. I can't wait to do all this bullshit again. I love it. And hopefully I can, you know, try to raise the money that social care doesn't have to support families. And I can't think of anything better to do with my life, really. Like literally just be able to sit there and hand out money left, right and centre as people need it for what they need. You know, what a great way to live, to make sure that, you know, that the people here in the UK that are going without have somewhere to go, to make sure that they have all the basic fundamentals and tools to fulfill their dreams. Like, why not? Why not? Even if I make a deal with people with their businesses, like I did for the Step Up model, you know, it's 10%. You know, that means they get like 90% of what they never had in the first place. So, wow, win-win, amazing. In fact, there's lots of people out there, and You know, who knows? Maybe one day somebody I have helped has achieved what they want, and I might be getting a knock on the door soon to say, you know, you said 10% jokingly, but there you go, there's your 10%. Who knows? And Dean as well, you know, Dean alone, you know, we might have our ups and downs as a couple, but in terms of Dean in what he was trying to break through, you know, he was giving up his dancing, he was giving up the art, he was giving up his music, he was fucking it all off. He'd been ripped off the shits. The galleries have been nicking his fucking work for goodness knows how many years. He doesn't make money out of it. It's only the galleries that do. They make shed loads of money out of him, shit loads of money out of him. You know, the publicist makes fucking loads of money. Nobody even knows who he is. Do you know what I mean? So as if they can actually pay him. How do people think they pay him somebody they don't know who he is? That's like crazy. You know, the same with his music. You know, he's done free parties for fucking years. So he deserves his payday too. So let's hope this will be interesting. Whether Dean has a shit day tomorrow. Let's see. On Dean's Twitter tomorrow, or even tonight. I haven't had a look. But I will have a look. I'll see whether he's in a good, happy, chirpy, blessing mood, or whether he's been cursed. So, but you do have a chance to change karma. You can change karma pretty instantly, but you won't get another harvest for quite a while. So you're going to have to be sowing them fucking seeds and doing your farming. I am coming into my 10th year, man. My 10th year. The vineyard is nearly over. And, yeah, I think you'd have to have read your Bible to understand what I'm talking about. So, yeah, it's exciting times. I can't wait. Like, I don't know. Maybe I get married next year. Maybe I won't. Who knows? So anyway, guys, I love you lots, and I'll speak to you soon. To those that I've never met and I don't know, and you do come here and you do show respect to me, and you get caught up in all this trolling, I'm so sorry. My rants are not to you. I really do get some nasty stuff that goes on, and it really, really isn't personal to you as an individual. It's just that I have no other way to defend myself, and this is what I'm talking about, being proactive or reactive. If somebody posts down there right now, you're a fucking cunt, they can't take my joy. And that's the place that I want you to get to, that if somebody attacks you and says something to you, that it doesn't rattle you. And that is why most of us lost our kids, because we became reactive. And I can 100% take ownership on that. Even going through the paperwork with him today, with James today, and talking about a couple of little situations that I could have dealt with a bit differently. Do you know what I mean? And that's me taking responsibility, and I take that on the chin and I deal with it. So now I know when I go into court again, and I'm hoping to allow this house to roll into my eviction into court. Hopefully with somebody out where else to go, because I'm hoping it's going to give me an opportunity to turn around to the judge and slam all the paperwork down on him, and also the keys to the house, and tell him, you come after me, you touch my kids, I'll kill you. There will be a gun in my van, mate, and the laws have now changed, and you touch my kids. It's as simple as that. And I can do that in the States. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully this will all work out, Graham. I really hope it does. You know, Graham's an old man, he hasn't got long, and I would really, 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 really love for him to leave his legacy, and I can't think of anything greater to be involved in, really. I don't watch snooker. It's not something I'm into. I don't even know what order the balls go in, so I don't know who any of these people are. There is no fame, celebrity or ego to me in any way, shape or form. Even when I met Dean, I didn't know who the fuck Coldplay, well, not Coldplay, Cold Cut was. I didn't have a clue who Ninja Tunes was. I couldn't tell you who Two Lone Swordsmen was, and Pump Cam, whatever it is. That means absolutely nothing to me. I don't know who Matt Black is. In fact, actually, it's quite funny because Matt Black's been on the XR platform playing as well, which is quite interesting. So yeah, I have no clue. I had no clue who Spiral Tribe was. I don't think many people know who Spiral Tribe is unless it's in that world. I've always known who Banksy is, but like I've always known who Dope is, and I've always known who a couple of the other ones, Obey and all that sort of are. So I know some of the crew, but like I've never been like somebody who goes like, you know, wears a dope hat and hangs Banksies up everywhere or whatever. In fact, I didn't even own a t-shirt, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't even have it around here if this wasn't part of a bit of a fuck you thing from Dean to the rest of the world. He's doing whatever he's doing, and I'll leave him to it. He'll come back, he'll stick another one up, do you know what I mean? So just let him do what he's got to do. He's angry, he's hurt, he's pissed off, and I get it. But who knows how all that's going to unfold as well. That's another thing. So yeah, I'm just going to let things unfold and be a bit more at peace with myself and be a bit more forgiving of myself, because I really didn't do anything wrong to lose Aaron and Faith. They were taken. It was wrong. That was an unlawful and unnecessary removal. I even won an ICPC police complaint, and I won 36 upheld complaints by the Care Council. All this, I just never got my day in court. Legal aid literally crushed and folded like 2 days after my case finished. No, 2 days before my case finished. So I've been out on my ass by myself ever since. So yeah, so today's been a really good day for me. 7 years fucking later, or 9 years later, since going out in the media the first time, to have that opportunity. I don't know where it will go. I don't know if it's all going to come out in October, like, you know, he says it will. He's got a few people. I really need him to go and speak to a lot of people. If you still want to speak to him, please come, you know, and pipe your head up if you want your story, you know, told. You want to go through your paperwork and you want to speak to someone. You know, he really does want to speak to people. He wants to get a real true picture of what's going on. He really wants to unlock the illegal adoption agencies and some real corruption in all of this as well, but he needs evidence. So if you have any evidence and any proof, even to link the child abuse inquiry, you know, even he said today, well, you know, the Savile thing proved that the historic was all from foster care. So, you know, if you really do want a chance to talk to a reporter, please, or journalist, please do come forward and talk to James before, you know, you don't get that opportunity. I've put so much media out, but they've never come to me. They don't come to me. Nobody's ever wanted to risk going to jail for exposing my story, and the media have been told, if you touch their story, you go to prison. So, yeah, hats off, James, and thanks for the opportunity, James, for today. I know you're watching, so you know, thank you for today. Like, it was so refreshing, it was so healing, it was such a great opportunity for me to heal and go through my paperwork that way. So you know, even if anything doesn't come from it, it's given me, you know, a whole new perspective of life. Do you know what I mean? And then also giving me the confidence as well that I don't have to beat myself up for what's happened. I don't have to destroy my life and my future because of what's happened. And I wouldn't want my kids to either. I wouldn't want my kids to be with their adoptive, kicking them off and hating them. I would want my children to embrace them. I would want my children to get the best possible life and time. And I would hope to think for the last 7 years while they've been with them, I would like to think that they haven't been unruly, horrible kids that, you know, have been kicking off and you know, being naughty at school. I would like to think that they're looking forward to going home and having some fun and, you know, and they're having a lovely time and stuff like that. And as much as it's not with me, I'm going to look forward to hearing all about it one day. Do you know what I mean? And I'm going to get to learn from a different point of view. You know, didn't quite get the life that I thought I might have got. You know, married, kids, life, no divorces, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, today's a really powerful day, guys. I really hope you embrace it. So yeah, I can't wait to see whether tomorrow is a blessing or a curse for you. So it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that you've not been very good right now and you need to change your karma. Do you know what I mean? You practice what you preach and sow what you sow. So I should be a fucking actor. People just keep saying I am. So yeah, so it is. It's a gig. It's the joys of living out in Northern Ireland for so long. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, guys, later. Ow.